Hello, welcome to Ramble Ranters. This is a podcast started by me, Dawson McLeod. I am here with my roommate and hopefully lifetime best friend, Tyler Malinoskis. This is a channel that we wanted to start together because we felt that, people are usually afraid of having deep conversations and rely on too trivial of topics and yearn to actually talk about these huge topics that we usually do on a pretty regular basis. And we wanted to invite people into this conversation. This is really just a channel about conversation. It's about discussion. It's about explaining points of view that other people may not be familiar with. We love disagreement here because what happens in disagreement is two sides and hopefully more of every issue. And because a lot of issues aren't just one-sided, they are multifaceted, they're complex, and we just wanted a venue to discuss that and invite people into a more generalized conversation. So if you would like to introduce yourself.
Very well said. I'm Tyler Malinoskis, also a BFA acting major like Dawson. We are roommates. I don't know what to say, honestly. I feel like we just need to get into the conversation. I don't want it to feel too artificial.
For sure.
When you said that this is a podcast about conversation, and I don't think that people have deep conversations. Let's make this clear that we don't have the answers. Our perspectives are
absolutely not.
Definitely not the ones that should be listened to. It's just that we feel I like playing the devil's advocate, especially on really sensitive issues.
For sure.
And he kind of keeps it in bounds, but, still humors it at the same time.
And we don't only have super deep, profound conversations. We talk about stupid stuff too.
Of course. I mean, there's got to be a balance.
We make each other laugh a lot. I think that's a very important aspect in any relationship, but a very strong portion of ours is that we make each other laugh and talk about very, very hard-hitting, heavy topics while keeping it a little frivolous.
Humorous, yeah. You're taking the serious aspect out of serious topics, which might be a little insensitive, but
at times,
it's a way to stand it.
I think we also do a good job of keeping the seriousness when it's important. Necessary.
Important, exactly, yeah.
So, I don't know. I think because this is the first episode, we are introducing ourselves to y'all. So I think we should just do introductions, say who we are, where we came from, how we met.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stories there.
Yeah. Lots of stories.
For sure.
I guess I'll go
where are you
first.
From?
Yeah. I'm from Andover, Kansas. It's a little town a little bit east of Wichita, Kansas. Mm-hmm. It is about 20 minutes outside the city. Very white neighborhood, very white just school. I went to kindergarten in the same place, grade school, middle school, high school, all in the middle school and high school were right next to each other. In my graduating class personally, I think we had 2 black kids. Mm-hmm. I think a couple Mexicans.
How big was the actual class though?
150. That was my graduating class.
Okay, so less than 1% was black, and then and didn't vary much with other minorities. Exactly,
and it was everybody knew each other. It was it was a public school, but it was very upper middle class.
Okay.
And it's hard to look back fondly on high school because I know I don't agree with those kind of people.
Sure.
And when I say those kind of people, I don't mean white people. I mean upper class white people. I feel like
because they live in their own little bubble,
especially ones that haven't been exposed to other I don't want to say ethnic groups, but personalities. You've got this group of people who've been living in this same kind of environment their entire lives,
sure.
And they don't change. They never go outside the boundaries. And so I felt it really hard to just you're complaining that your dad bought you the wrong color of car when you got a car for your 16th birthday.
For sure, yeah.
I've
only seen that kind of high level complaints on YouTube videos. Did you actually see those kind of conflicts? Or
definitely.
I remember one of the first, I'm not sure, would it be a meme? The first memes that I remember growing up was but I wanted the blue one. Do you remember that? There was like an old YouTube video, and this like 16-year-old girl got this like crazy. It might have been like a Corvette, and
I think I know what you're talking about.
A red car, and she had like a meltdown on camera because she wanted the blue one. So those kind of.
We had a similar situation at my school. There was a girl named Julia. Shout out to Julia all right. Anyway, she got a Kia Soul for like a 2000. It was like 2013. It was the next year car. You know how cars come out like 1 year in advance.
Sure.
She got the next year car, and it was I think it was like kind of like a dark forest green, and she didn't like that color of green, and so she made her dad return the fucking car and get her a new one. Now,
oh, okay.
He didn't actually lose any money probably in it because, I mean, it was probably the day after.
Sure.
But still, to be that ungrateful.
No.
To be that so...
Absolutely.
Like, as if you have a choice. My dad would have been like, because I remember my dad was like, you need to pick out your first car. You need to make sure, do all the research that you get a good car. And eventually, he's so specific with everything. I was just like, you know what, screw it. You pick the car for me. So when he actually picked the car, if I wasn't elated... Which I was. If I wasn't, though, it'd be like, all right, well, I'll keep it. I'll use it. You don't get a car. So,
for sure.
But growing up in that environment, I'm fortunate to not have that mindset. I feel like I don't. I feel like I'm very...
Did you grow out of it? Or did you always feel a little bit out of place?
Always.
With that kind of mindset?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that mindset always existed in kindergarten and everything. Sure. Because I probably just don't remember it, but I don't think it existed. But in high school, definitely, I didn't like it. I was always kind of an outsider. I mean, it was a small class. There weren't... In every grade I went to, I was never, like... the kid. I was usually class clown. I mean, if I had to put a label on anything, I would probably be class clown.
Okay.
But the class clown who went over the edge a little bit, like a little too far.
Push the envelope.
Past the point where he should have, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tell me about your place, where you grew up.
Okay. I was born in Santa Monica, California. And when I was 6 years old, I moved to a little suburb outside Austin, Texas, Cedar Park. And I went to elementary school in Cedar Park. And I experienced a little bit of bullying, so me and my parents jointly made the decision that I should change schools.
How old were you when this happened?
So my last year in public school was in 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't go to the public middle school. Instead, I just transferred to a Christian private school.
For grades 6 through 12?
Yes, and I graduated from that same school.
Well, you were lucky. Public middle school is arguably the worst years of your life.
That's what I've heard.
Your adolescent life.
My parents both teach. My mom doesn't work anymore at the moment, but my dad still teaches public middle school. He actually teaches now at the school I would have gone to if I stayed in the public school system. So, and he tells me, like, he sees the good in kids. Like, he understands, like,
you want to be a teacher.
Innocent, for sure. But he tells me stories. So when he first started teaching, he taught at a place called Hopewell Middle School. It was geographically, it was crazy. He would tell me this, because north of the school was like ritzy, like middle to upper class.
Yeah,
white
like
people.
right on the border.
And then the south of the school was ghetto. Like, he had to physically break up gang fights.
Oh, shit.
The school mandated that they couldn't, like, the shoes. Like, shoe color was a mandated thing because people would represent their gang colors.
Well, then.
With their shoes. So he went to, like, this crazy, like, way weird dichotomy of, like, population at the school. But then he changed to, like, suburbs and now is teaching.
Yeah, he's like, I can't fix this.
This is a systematic thing that I really cannot change. So he got out of there. But yeah, so I went to the same private school for 7 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, my graduating class was 19.
Yeah, I think I have a small class, and most people think I do, but that's incredible.
I heard 150, and I'm like, wow, that's small for a public school, because the public school, like, was across the street from my private school. Their graduating class was like 900.
They're looking across the street like the grass is always greener on the other side.
People say, where do you go to school? And I go, I go to Summit Christian Academy. And they go, where's that? And this is how I would introduce it. I go, you know that creepy driveway across the street from the Cedar Park High School? Yeah. What is that?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've always wondered what that was. Yeah, that's a school. What?
Yeah, it's underground. I mean, you have to drive down. And then
yeah, so like in order to get to the school, it's like this weird like hidden patch like in between. It was like surrounded by like suburbia.
Did you go to Professor Xavier's School for Extraordinary Children?
I did. I can move things with my mind. That's what they teach at Christian private school.
Oh,
you get
the power of the Bible.
You get right with the Lord, and then you can get superpowers. It's amazing. But
that's how they
like there was this like long driveway, like it was probably like somewhere like a third of a mile long.
Okay.
And then you would actually get to the school. So there was this like long patch of concrete that you like, if you just started like walking along it, you're like, I have no idea where I am. I'm surrounded by trees and fences. And
so how was that? Like did you see a notable transition from public school to private school? Was there still bullying?
Not for me, no.
No.
It was, so like, it was never, kids are kids. Like let's put that out there. No matter what environment that you're in educationally, kids are still terrible people.
Right.
So I didn't personally get bullied, but there were kids that were like socially ostracized and were like obviously isolated and like
But you yourself felt much more at home
for sure
at that private school
because I found a better niche. Like, okay, so when I was at public school, the reason I think that I was bullied was because I was just way smarter than everyone.
That's threatening.
So, okay, so like, you know, those like placement tests that they do at the very beginning of the year to see if you should be in like standard or advanced math or whatever?
Yeah, definitely.
So I took that test, got placed into the math one. Like I got advanced.
The highest math.
So, and then they said, all right, so here's all the things that you are going to learn this year. How much do you already know? So they can like adjust the curriculum and whatnot. Correct. I got a perfect score on that.
So you knew all of the stuff that they were planning on teaching you that year.
Yes. And that was, and people were just like, they were.
Oh, Dawson's that smart kid, you know.
For sure. But it was also paired with the fact that I just didn't know how to talk to people. I had the worst social skills. The worst. I did until like sophomore year of high school. Like I just didn't know how to like register and understand social situations.
Yeah.
So.
Or at least put yourself and interject yourself into those to where you feel comfortable being the person that you are.
Yeah, I always felt when I was at public school, I would sit at like what I deemed was the cool kid table.
Yeah.
But at the next table over. So you know how like those tables like fold in half?
Yeah.
And then they
yes. I totally remember that.
So if we're like going with this diagram, the cool kids would sit here.
Correct.
And I would sit at the very end of this table.
So you would...
I was at the same table.
So you're like listening in on their conversations?
I would sit there and be like involved in their conversation, but I was very obviously like physically apart from them.
Right.
So like I always felt like when they went home and like had sleepovers and whatnot, they'd be like, "Oh, dude, why is Dawson there? Like, why is he always like trying to like insert himself?
Why does he always feel like one eye is looking at us?"
Yeah. No, it was both eyes. I was like wholeheartedly trying to invest myself in what they had. I was like, "Hey guys, include me," and it never worked. It's like, yeah. So that was more or less my experience at public school. But at private school, I actually found like a good group of people. Like I love my class, class that I basically had more or less from 6th grade to graduating.
So you were that 6 table was at the public school where you're on the side?
Yeah.
Oh, so I know exactly what kid you were.
Yeah.
You were the kid who got you were the butt of the jokes. You were every butt of every joke.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, and I just didn't handle it well. So I left.
I mean, who would?
So
it's traumatizing.
So at private school, I actually found like a good group of kids that sort of like allowed me to be more or less my weird self until I sort of figured myself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I joined the football team. I started doing theater, which I stuck with. Now I'm an acting major at university. So
agents beware.
My talent is coming your way. So yeah, so I actually like found friends that I enjoyed and found extracurriculars that I was good at and enjoyed. And yeah, that was, and I like changed. Like I went from like bottom of the joke, like butt of the joke in elementary public school to like more or less, I don't want to say top dog because that makes me sound like an
narcissistic.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I was more or less head and shoulders above most of my class.
Yeah.
Just because I like to think that I retained my intelligence into middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Like I graduated at the top of my class. And yeah, so I was there.
All-state running back also. I remember that you've told me that. Was it all-state or
district? Yeah.
All district.
Yeah.
I've seen you run. You're so fucking fast.
Yeah.
You're like a gazelle.
Well, yeah, which actually has real life applications. When you get mugged and hit in the head with a baseball bat,
yeah,
you just run away.
Run away and keep your backpack safe and the contents
there you
inside.
Go. Well, okay. So my first year at university,
We're not in the UK. We're college.
I like international audiences. So when I was in college, my first year,
you're thinking so big picture.
My freshman year, I was going to another guy's house to kick back and relax.
It's a party. Just say it's a party. You're going to a party.
So after, for non-theater people, after your show is done, once you do your final performance, it's tradition to do a cast party. Mm-hmm. So everyone that was involved in the show comes to one house and just all hang out and debauchery and stuff. So I was traveling to this party
by foot,
by myself in the dark. There were no streetlights above me, and we live right now in like pretty low income housing neighborhood.
Yeah, right where we are sitting right now is not that far away from the place that you got mugged.
No, it's like
it's a good 5.
It's like 7 blocks,
something like that
right now. So like every time I walk home from school, it's just like this is where it was. But so I was walking by myself on foot in the dark with a backpack on, and I'm a white boy, so that's never a good situation to be in. So a car pulls up next to me and goes, "Hey, do you?" And they're asking me,
Let's go back to the white boy comment. Would you say that
I'm
a black
just
kid
not
with a backpack would not have gotten jumped at the same time?
Knowing the environment, maybe not.
Maybe
but it's
not.
Just, I'm just not an intimidating person.
Okay, I feel that.
If you meet me for the first time, you don't think, oh man, I better watch out for that kid. Like,
so when you say white, you mean just
non-threatening,
right? Exactly.
Able to be taken advantage of easily.
And as another white man, I take full offense to that. And
well, there you go. This is for discussion. So you may criticize me or whatever.
I'm going to stop interrupting you. Go ahead and finish.
So I was walking to this party, and this car pulls up next to me and goes, "Hey, do you know where this is?" So they're asking me for directions, and I'm giving them directions. And first mistake, I walk up to their car. Mm-hmm. I'm on the sidewalk. I get off the sidewalk onto the street and start talking to them. And a guy jumps out of the back seat with a bat.
Metal or wood?
I think it was metal.
Shit.
So I don't really remember. But
right.
His mistake, number one, he announces his presence before he hits me.
Like, what did he go?
I'm
going to get you.
He said, "Come here." And with his bat raised. And I have time, because I have generally good reflexes. I have time to like stop, register that thought, turn and look, see his back raised and start coming down on me. And I think, this is not an ideal situation. And I turn away and duck. And his bat like nicks me in the head. So it wasn't like a perpendicular brute force, like
it could have
straight
been,
down. Oh yeah. If he didn't say anything, there's a high chance that I might not be here today. But because he said something, it just nicked me. I like was dazed for a second, but I was still on my feet.
Yeah.
Like secured my backpack and just bolted.
Wow.
And then I thought, wait, they might have a gun. Serpentine. So I just start like on the sidewalk, just like running to left and right and left and right. And they like, I see the headlights turn off and they pull away. I'm like, oh. That's
pretty good thought,
So I
though.
run like 4 more blocks. Just like, don't even stop. I'm hauling. And I walk up to the door of the house and 2 people like meet me, like just happen to be there at the same time. And they go, "Hey, did you walk here by yourself?" And I go, "Yeah,
do you have a bandit?"
I think I got mugged." And they go, what? Yeah, I think I got hit in the head with a bat. So they like usher me in, and like somebody, Sarah goes like full nurse on me. Starts like patching me up. I didn't even realize I was bleeding. Like, but it was great. I
remember that night. So like,
oh yeah,
I don't know who told me. I think we just heard.
No,
through the grapevine.
I texted Jordan, my roommate.
Yeah. Jordan was like, okay, Dawson just got mugged, and I was like, what? And I think we were going to another party. But we decided to go to
drop everything.
Yeah, essentially.
Best friends ever.
No, seriously, I was pissed off. I was like,
you wanted to fight somebody.
I thought they were still there, but like,
no, because I remember you thought they were guys from our school.
Or yeah, exactly. Or
like that we
or from the party. I was so confused because there was so much information I didn't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I knew that you were.
You were mostly in the dark about the whole situation,
right?
But you were just. I remember you like pacing in the driveway, just like super aggressive. Like I need to hit somebody. Whoever hit Dawson, I'm gonna. I remember that
because, like you said, I mean, you're very white. It's like you're. My thought was, why would they? You know, exactly.
Well, so I asked somebody who works at our school who knows more about like the gang culture around here, and I was wearing one of my friend's OU sweaters, and their crimson red is a gang color here.
Wow, that is really like in Oklahoma in general.
In Oklahoma City,
it's just Oklahoma City.
Or I don't know if it is more here, but here for sure. And I was walking in enemy territory.
That's wow.
So, and because I have a backpack, I had a backpack on, maybe they thought I was making a delivery for those persons.
Yeah.
And wanted to take whatever I had.
That's...
So, maybe I'm thinking too much.
I'm trying to think about my wardrobe and what crimson reds I have and what not to wear.
For sure. But, yeah, so that was... that happened within the first 2 months of school.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the first big things that I remember about college. And I remember coming out of that thinking, it's probably uphill from here.
Yeah.
Like I got this out of the way.
If it gets worse, we're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is
Mom, Dad.
Speaking of the neighborhood that we live in, and I don't like saying that we don't like live in a good neighborhood because
no, for sure.
I feel like that's judgmental, but I'm also the idea like if you're walking down the street, obviously this doesn't apply to you, but if you just mind your own fucking business, you should be fine in most situations.
More or less, yeah, for sure.
Especially, I mean, in a populated area where you know it's not a good place, but you are the proof in the pudding that that's not true. But like, I remember my parents came to see this place, and you weren't here at the time. I was the only one living here, and the thing that we love about this place is the porch. Undoubtedly. So I was like, all right, here's the place, here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, here's the bedrooms. Let me take you to the porch. And so it was nighttime, the 3rd of July. And we're sitting on the porch.
Oh, so at night. So it's about to turn 4th.
Right. We're just going to look at the fireworks and stuff.
Sure.
And so this guy goes out, like across the street, and he lights something. And I'm like, oh, cool. My family loves fireworks. We used to do all this stuff for fireworks.
So you're thinking he's just there for recreation.
Of course.
Celebrating the eve.
Yeah. I think it's like a firecracker or like a Saturn missile or something. And he lights a mortar in the street. And it just goes boom! And it sets off like 3 car alarms. And I just look at my dad and I'm like, it's not that bad of a neighborhood. It's
yeah.
It's but I've watched, I mean, not watched him, but I've seen that guy nowadays, and he's got like 2 kids. I think he's got a little sixth sense of humor, and I respect that. I think that's funny. Any other night I would have like said, do another, but Mom was right next to me too, so.
For sure.
But kind of getting back to high school, it's interesting that you say that you were what you considered to be one of the more liked kids in your school, top of your class, running back on the football team, varsity.
I got like leads in the high school plays. Yeah.
Right. It was the complete opposite for me.
Okay.
And it was like, I was definitely that like, how do I say this? I had no friends.
Sure.
It was just like I said, I was an outsider. I didn't like a lot of people. Okay. So I had like one friend in high school who I really liked, and I was really involved in the speech and debate team, and I had good friends in there. But only
and you were good at that too.
one best friend. Yeah, it was an outlet for me, definitely.
Cool.
But my school was not private. It didn't. There was no funding to the theater program.
Oh, my school, I didn't have anything either.
Yeah, but how many shows did you do a year?
2.
A musical and a play. Mm-hmm. That was the same for us. But how many people were trying out for the musicals?
Oh, like 40, like half of the high school, like a third to half of the high school was involved in theater just because it was like the cool place to be. Mm-hmm. First time ever in all of history that the theater program is the cool place.
Very unusual. But like for 600 kids, 700 kids, we were lucky if 20 would go out. And I would not necessarily get cast in anything real. I mean, I really couldn't sing very well. And I didn't take it seriously because nobody took it seriously where I grew up. Mm-hmm. And it was only until I started doing humorous interpretation and forensics, which was where you had 10 minutes to essentially act out a short play.
By yourself?
By yourself, in front of a judge, in nice attire, like a debate, only you had multiple characters. So you would have to switch your voice. You'd have to...
Your mannerisms.
There's a whole other like thing to it.
Sure.
But it was only through that I found that I loved acting.
Okay.
I really liked, I wanted to do it and continue to do it in college. So I remember my second semester of my sophomore year, or my senior year, I went to Unifieds like you did. Almost, we just missed each other, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And I missed a week of school. And I was so done with high school at that point that all of the work, lots of work that I was assigned, I didn't do any of it. Mm-hmm. Still graduated because essentially I was like, it's last semester of senior year.
This isn't going to affect my GPA.
So when you say, when you're my roommate, you're top of your class, I'm like, I'm not here, but I'm definitely nowhere near where you were.
This is a whole another thing about like school being emblematic of actual intelligence. But
yeah,
you are very intelligent. You just slacked.
Oh, of course. To put it lightly, yeah.
So, but that doesn't
habit.
Take away or isn't a detriment to like your actual intelligence
and acting ability. I mean,
sure, no, absolutely.
That's another thing. I had no like you and I have in common. Neither one of our counselors helped us get to where this school.
Guidance counselors?
Yeah, guidance counselors. I was the only person in the history of Andover Central High School to want to be an actor, or at least that my guidance counselor had known, because she was 3 years young at that school, and the one before her was still there, but she was the one mainly dealing with my class, and she was like, "I know how to get you to be an engineer." But don't get me wrong, she helped, but there was nowhere near the outside work that I did with my dad.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking back on high school, I say that as like a wise old man, and I'm 19, but looking back on high school...
When I left high school 2 years ago.
I was done with it the day I walked in, really. Because I knew college was all that mattered. Mm-hmm. College is what decided what you were going to do. I mean, like, maybe not as much of the growing as a person that I've recognized now, but definitely like your work ethic, your profession, what you're going to do after in the real world.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, I was essentially done with high school mentally after sophomore year.
Yeah.
Like junior and senior year, I was like praying, like, please just let me out of here. I want to leave.
Yeah.
Let me go out and do what I want. And I'm right there with you.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's kind of beginnings. Like that's where I come from. Mm-hmm. It's not really interesting. I'm not like an army brat who's traveled all over and I met those people, but like back in Kansas, I have a handful of friends I still talk to and I still keep in touch with, and I love those guys. And a couple gals,
Couple gals.
And I love seeing them, but I'm still kind of a loner. I don't think I'll ever be able to be the guy who's looked on as one of the top of the class. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I'm not necessarily at the same level. But I'm not gonna ever be that. I don't feel like, because I just never was. I never learned to do that.
Sure.
So I definitely like. You're just an interesting person to bounce off ideas. Where our personalities are opposite in the same way.
Yeah. So
in different ways.
I mean, I'm an INFP and you're an INTP.
in the 16 personalities
in the
test thing.
It's so weird. My girlfriend and one of my best friends back home are both INTPs. So like I have 3 INTPs very, very close to me, and that's just very, very
We're like f***ing magnets. Just,
and I'm thinking because I was friends with my friend back home first. So is it a thing that I warmed up to that kind of personality and then subconsciously sought out people that are similar to that?
that might be true.
Or is it because it's also part of the Myers-Briggs test? At least the website that I took it, and it expounded on the crazy things about your personality and whatnot.
Yeah.
That part of it was the other personalities that you're attracted to, and INTP is one of them.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's a cosmic destiny kind of thing that I spend the rest of my life with INTPs.
At least with a good number of them close to you in your life. I don't know if that's and does that scare you? Does that make you feel comforted?
No, it doesn't scare me. No, I love what the INTP personality has to offer, especially in contrast to myself.
Yeah. It's a good compliment. It's a good partnership. I definitely, I'm not going to say that I love the INTF. Am I saying that right?
Me?
Yes.
INFP.
INFP. I'm not going to say I love that personality in a whole, because as far as I know, you are the only INFP that I have, been really good friends with.
Okay.
But if I'm basing all of them off of you, then I would be definitely excited to meet more of them. There's a group of them in a box that I just haven't picked up yet. But
and you will be my friend for the next however long.
This is 25 to 30. This is 45 to 50.
That's a statement. Yeah.
It's scary because I remember reading my personality type and I was like, this is scary accurate.
Oh no. Same.
This is nobody's ever understood me this way. Known how what goes on in here.
And you're a web page.
Yeah, and I'm just reading you. I just didn't find you in time. Essentially.
No, it was so funny because me and my 2 best friends back home in Austin took it together. So my friend took it. I think my other friend took it, and then I was the last one. So we would take it all and we would watch each other answer the questions.
Very private. Very private.
Sometimes, but we were really, really close. So we basically knew everything that they were about to put, with a few surprises.
Okay.
But then we would start reading about them, and then every time there would be one of 2 things, 2 reactions to what the webpage had to say. It was either the person who took the test reading it about themselves and saying, "Oh my goodness, is this my diary?"
Right? It's very much like that.
Is this a written down transcription of my subconscious and my inner monologue?
Yeah.
And then the other one is the person reading it for themselves saying, "I don't think that's true." And then me and my best friend going, "Yeah, it is."
Yeah, that's spot on.
That
accurate.
is spot on. They go, "Really?" And they go, "Oh yeah. So, and that was really funny.
Yeah.
Just because whenever we didn't see that kind of aspect about ourselves, the other people around us did.
Definitely. I remember the group of people that I took the test with, because we all did it at the same time, kind of like you and your friends. They weren't my best friends. I mean, they're really good friends, but we had the same kind of thing. Do I really tend to surround myself with people even if I don't like them that much? It's yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right in the middle, So it's now I'm thinking about Chandler, the one I do Doghouse with. I don't remember.
And your roommate last year.
INTJ is his name? Is what he is? Because I'm an INTP, you're an INFJ. I think he is an INTJ.
INTJ?
Yeah, and I think
probably.
We were roommates freshman year in the dorms, and you were roommates with an ENFP, I think, something like that. Anyway, the other Jordan, your roommate.
Yeah.
And Chandler and I get along really well.
Yeah.
Really well. We have a good back and forth, a proper good banter. And it's weird that I get along so well with him to the point where I was comfortable being with his roommate, and I get along with you very well.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable being your roommate. And And that's the only 2 roommates I've had. So am I easy to get along with? Does that mean I get to I get along with more people?
Even with like all the people that you've listed so far, like me, Chandler, my roommate last year.
Yeah.
If you like look at like the Myers-Briggs like
Percentages of the population?
no, like sections.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all in sort of like the same subset more or less.
Yeah. I
Like
guess that's
we're
right.
all at most 2 off from each other.
Yeah, in the letters. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
we're all sort of in the same corner of personalities. And again, is that something that we like subconsciously choose to surround ourselves with? Or is it
Well, we were in the honors college, so I guess
we were sort of stuck with ourselves.
Yeah.
And basically only socialized with each other for a good bit. Yeah, and then it's another conversation of were we just good friends because we surrounded ourselves with each other so
Or
constantly?
we were just stuck together.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's like you said. It's definitely there's something to the Myers-Briggs.
No,
But
yeah.
let's get off of that. Let's talk about dorm life and how we met because we said we were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know a specific day when I met you.
I think we met each other on Move-In.
Just moving, yeah, like
Yeah.
passing. You're my across the hall mate. You're not my sweet mate.
No, we
but
were in the same hallway.
definitely. So I was probably just hanging out with Chandler or something. Did you come to the 101 the first night? Because I remember we had a good amount of people in there because it kind of became the place to just chill for our group of friends, not like everybody, but
Yeah.
it was. I think, but you were also very involved. Like you said, you yourself are very sociable and you're very easy to talk to, and people just come up to you and love you, and it's easy for you to.
I just choose to spread myself thin.
If you're going self-deprecating, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I stick my hands and toes in a lot of different corners of wherever I am.
But you spent a good amount of time in the 101.
No, yeah, for sure. That's where I more or less ended every day. I would go do my thing during the day, go to class, go to rehearsal, go hang out with whatever organization I had to be, whatever meeting I was at that day.
Yeah.
And then that was my like relax, ground myself, just sort of
Come watch Planet Earth.
exhale the rest of the day out and just chill with people I actually enjoyed.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure I did not like you to begin with.
Sure. No, I'm a very strong. I find that people either upon first impression really, really like me or really, really don't.
I'll confirm that because I've heard from other people that's how it is. But I think the one thing was because Jordan, your roommate, he would spend a lot of time with me. We became like best friends during freshman year.
For sure. Pretty immediately too.
We really hated each other at the beginning, but then we had a little coming together moment in my car.
But yeah, that was about 3 weeks in. When we just sort of like
a month, something like that.
Like when you two just like singled each other out. It's like, all right, you and I we're
gonna talk this out. Like, what the hell's what's your deal, man? And then we realized,
and then you became bros. Yeah, and it was great.
But he would always complain about you because you just kept your room so messy, so like, and you would just take food and he just it got under his skin. And granted, Jordan's kind of a sensitive motherfucker. You kind of are if you're watching, but at the same time, you just expect people to kind of be okay with that.
Yeah, and I like to think that I grew out of that.
You did not nearly as individualistic as you definitely think about others much more. I never really saw it freshman year. Sure, you'd take a Rice Krispie treat or two and then just kind of walk out of my room sometimes, but it didn't really ever really bother me. It really bugged Jordan a lot.
Sure.
But after that, I mean, after I started talking to you more and we had a couple classes together, I definitely started to just, this kid is brilliant. This kid is so fucking talented. And I'm a big proponent of the quote, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And you definitely,
oh my God, for sure.
You definitely are way smarter than I am. And I was like, oh, that kid you need to stick with and need to be around. So I remember like other certain people saying, oh, what the fuck's up with Dawson? I'm like, dude, just
No, he's a weirdo.
yeah, like just fucking hang out one-on-one with Dawson. Because I mean, everybody's different when they're in a group setting.
Sure.
Definitely, you have a different personality.
Oh yeah.
And
No, being my roommate, you can attest to this. I'm totally different when it's just like you and me.
Yeah.
And when we have a lot of people around. Mm-hmm. I change a crazy amount.
it's
Just like the way I present myself and the way I talk to other people.
that's interesting. That's an interesting like just idea to wrap your head around. The whole when you're alone with a certain person that you're comfortable with, the person that you are then, and the person that you are in a group, this kind of takes that away.
Yeah.
This platform, the way that we're talking to each other right now,
It invites people
to see this other side of you.
Not even
And
to see this.
myself.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a pretty universal thing. Is that we act differently around different people.
Yeah.
And with like bigger numbers or smaller numbers, like because like I don't feel like I have to censor myself around you or like edit what I have to say.
Right.
So I feel like this is a good platform for other people if when they join this conversation and discussion to really explore the idea of, what am I actually like? Because I feel like more or less
Yeah.
when we're just like here now, I am as much as I think I am me.
Yeah.
I am uncensored, unedited. I am Dawson McLeod, whatever that means. So this allows more people to be more aware of that and more conscious of that, and invite to whatever we start talking about, whether it's because we'll eventually get to like big honking topics like
Politics,
religion, philosophy,
yeah,
like hot button current events issues. Like I think once we sort of establish that this is a place to really not censor yourself and to challenge what you have to say and what you think and really explore every facet of whatever we're talking about, that this will come around to hopefully people's real life and understand that, you know what, I don't have to be like afraid of being me no matter who I'm with.
Oh, I don't know. I think you still need to be afraid. I mean, you're a different person in groups for a reason. You know, you put on a I don't want to say a mask because that has a negative connotation attached to it.
I'll say that
But
for sure.
you put on a mask.
I put on a facade, like
exactly.
I put on like this, like the comedy tragedy masks. I put on the comedy mask. I'm like, hi, I don't want you guys to know that I'm dying inside.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll crack a few jokes and make people laugh for sure.
So don't be definitely, essentially, especially if that person that you know to be like you yourself, the real Dawson, to be something that you're not comfortable sharing with everybody, don't. I mean, especially if you don't think that is your best step, especially when it comes to, I don't know, furthering yourself in your career. That's what I think everything is. Every interaction with a new person is like, oh, what can I learn from this person? How can this person, how can we work together? Especially as an artist,
Sure.
you know,
No,
and going to our
absolutely.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not, if you see somebody for certain that you just don't like, you just don't agree with them, you just don't like their personality or something. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't just be outright and tell them, hey, yeah, I kind of dislike you. I'd rather you not breathe the same air I'm breathing.
But
you should put on that mask. Be nice to them.
So when you mention that, where do you draw the line between like putting on a mask and a facade and then having a filter?
I feel like the filter is part of that mask.
There are some times that like even when I'm like being myself around like people like I really, really trust, there are still things that I probably are inappropriate to say. Like if I'm having like a heart to heart with somebody and they're bawling their eyes out and they're like confessing whatever they want to me and whatnot, it would be inappropriate and insensitive of me to go, suck it up, you're being kind of an idiot. Like that's just not the time and place for it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those times. I agree with you there. There's definitely a time for a filter, but in a social situation like we were talking about in a group, if there's a person in that group, which we've all been in those situations,
where there's that one person.
Yeah, you don't as much as you might want to exclude them, you shouldn't, and you should keep that mask on. And that's just a happy mask. It's a PC mask, I guess. That's the wrong word and way to describe it, but
it's just more sensitive and more inclusive.
Yeah. And for me, my mask has to be thick because I'm not very, I don't know. I'm not very sensitive to things. Mm-hmm. And I like making those crude jokes. So if there is somebody, for example, who's just very religious, very devout Christian, I'm not going to very well get along with them, because it's kind of like, hey, you can sit anywhere but in that chair. I want to sit in that chair now because you told me not to. I see that you're going to get offended at something. Now I want to tell you a bad joke. A bad joke.
I think that's just part of your personality, though, to push people's buttons.
Exactly. So I shouldn't be myself in front of those people if I want to continue to be able to build those connections, to cooperate with people and work with them, you know?
Yeah.
Build that, what's it called? Well, we not a congregation, but an ensemble that we're supposed to have with our class. And that's also a respect thing, a respect of other people's emotions and other people's beliefs, and their sensitivities.
Yeah, that's an interesting line to draw in the sand. Like, at what point are you just being sensitive and considerate of others?
Yeah.
And are you compromising who you are as a person?
I think it's when you get to a point where you're hanging out one-on-one with people. Now, if you're in a productions kind of setting, like you're in a show together,
or you're for people who aren't actors, like if you're on a project with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like any kind of collaborative.
Exactly.
Kind of
if you're going to continue to hang out with this person, but while you're hanging out with this person, you're putting on a mask, you're becoming somebody that you're not. That's false. And I feel like that's just as bad as lying. You know? That's as bad as blatantly lying to somebody. Hey, you think I'm this person, but then I'm going to go behind your back and talk to the people that I actually get along with about you.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely. That's where that kind of gossip comes from. Pretending to be somebody's friend and keeping them around you and just to make fun of them or just to disagree with them. And I feel like that's really mean. So why not outright just, not be with them or in a way? I don't know. It's kind of hard to not come across sounding like an asshole, but it's hard. Talking to people is hard.
No, yeah. But that's what this is for, and we're at time, so...
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, over 45 minutes has passed.
That did not feel like 45 minutes.
No, it didn't.
That felt very natural.
Yeah, well, good. So yeah, that's what this is all about. I think we sort of ended at a good place, because I feel like this is an environment that we're trying to foster online, of all places, to allow people to really find who they are behind that mask. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people do put on masks behind anonymity. Like, oh, because I'm on the internet, I can say whatever I want without consequence.
And that's what I love. That's why we came up with this. That's because we wanted to take out all censorship. Apart from a couple words maybe here and there, but we wanted to take out everything I'm going to hold back.
It away.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's what, hopefully, it's not always just going to be you and me.
No.
I don't think you explained that. It's just for me and you, because this was our original concept idea.
Yeah.
You fostering it. We want to get people to talk about feeling, how they feel really about stuff. So when other people come on, hopefully this will be a platform where they feel comfortable enough to do that, and that the audience will be conditioned that, I might not hear something that I agree with today.
Yeah, and that's all. That's why I like inviting other people on, because it'll be a venue for bringing on new perspectives and opinions.
Exactly.
And some of my friends and your friends have very, very strong opinions that a lot of people may not agree with and like.
Oh, of course.
But that's what this is here for.
Yeah.
And when people start discussing wherever they want to about what we're talking here, then it's just we're inviting new perspectives and new opinions and new outlooks.
Definitely.
And that's what this is
hopefully
all about.
With more of a set topic in mind.
Yeah.
Because maybe less rambling and more ranting.
We'll find that line in the sand.
The happy medium.
As we go along. Well, thank you for joining us. We are going to upload every Sunday.
Yep.
Around 2:00 p.m. It'll be right here on YouTube. We will also try and expand to SoundCloud and iTunes. So if you aren't able to like listen to the whole thing with the video, then you just listen to us.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Listen to our dumb voices.
Yeah, I like my voice more than I like my appearance. So maybe just start on SoundCloud.
We'll see.
All right.
Till next time.